singkat cekau ing rerenggaane obaing cantik kadian beksan sepuri ang gambar sinjang katon indah Batik ngayog Yogyakarta yakti kagunan kang ediluhur ojo nganti kelane ang resopo satu Batik ciptone mengarahi konco jawa wican adiluhuring batik warisan para luhur akeh piwulang becik tumrap laku kesan pralambang kepribadian bangsa
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our special event, International Talk Show conducted by Graduate Program of Psychology, Satya Wacana Christian University. My name is Claudia Sowisa. I am a student in Graduate Program of Psychology, Satya Wacana Christian University, and I will be hosting this event today. The Honorable Dean of Faculty of Psychology, Satya Wacana Christian University, Mrs. Berta Estiari Prasetya, SPS IMA. Good morning, Mrs. Berta. The Honorable Head of Department of Psychology, Undergraduate Program, Mrs. Ratriana Kusumiati, MSI, Psychologist. Good morning, Mrs. Ratriana. The Honorable Head of Department Graduate Program of Psychology, Mrs. Susana Prapunoto, MA, PSY. Good morning, Mrs. Susana.
Good morning, Claudia.
The Honorable His Excellency, Mr. Jauhari Oratmangun with Mrs. Wiwik. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. The Honorable, our special speakers today, Mr. Musa Widiatmojo. Good morning, Mr. Musa.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. It's really nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. Ms. Anastasia Salnikova. Good morning, Ms. Anastasia. Ms. Samratutama Adil. Good evening, Miss.
Hi, good morning over there.
Thank you for joining us today, Ms. Samratutama. And Mr. Bimsik. Good morning, Mr. Thank you for joining us today. And all beloved participants who come from various countries, thank you for joining us. This is our first international talk show and also 15th series of our events from previous webinars that we have done since July 25th, 2020. This event is in collaboration with World Friend of Batik, Gerakan Cinta Batik sebagai Mahakarya Indonesia, Batik Pakualaman, DPD Jateng Fox Point Indonesia, Institut Pluralisme Indonesia, and Apindo Central Java and Yogyakarta. There will be more upcoming events with different themes, which are certainly interesting and useful for us. So therefore, we are pleased and joyfully inviting you to join us, which will be informed to you furthermore. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start the entire event today with a prayer. I will lead in Christian faith, so please adjust. Let's pray. Thank you, Jesus, for your bless for us today. We are going to start our event today. Please bless us. We surrendered all of this event today for you. Thank you, Jesus. In the name of Jesus, we are praying. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, to launch the talk show today, I will read the code of conduct for all of us to pay attention on it, and you can also see it on your own display screen. First, participants are requested not to activate the microphone during the talk show. Second, participants can ask questions via chat box. The moderator will ask the speakers to answer some questions while guiding the talk show. Third, the committee will provide a link for attendance and evaluation 15 minutes before the talk show ends. Fourth, the certificate can be downloaded by the participants on the link shown after submitting the evaluation sheet. And fifth, participants must attend the talk show in an orderly manner. Ladies and gentlemen, before entering the talk show session, we will listen to some welcoming speech. So now I'm pleased to invite Ms. Mernon Yerlinda Carlista Mage, SPDK MSI, as the chairman of the committee to give a welcome to us. Please, Ms. Mernon.
Thank you very much to Claudia. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Dean of Faculty of Psychology, Satya Wacana Christian University, Mrs. Berta Esti Adiprasetya, SPSIMA. The Honorable Head of Department of Psychology, Undergraduate Program, Mrs. Ratriana Kusumiati, MSc Psychologist. The Honorable Head of Department Graduate Program of Psychology, Mrs. Susana Prapunoto, MAPSY. The Honorable Head of DPD Central Java Fox Point Indonesia, Mr. Felix Sukandi, MHKS. And I also welcoming Your Excellency, Mr. Jauhari Oratmangun and Mrs. Wiwik Oratmangun from Beijing. Thank you so much for joining us today. The Honorable, our special and awesome speakers today, Mr. Musa Widiat Mojo, Ms. Anastasia Salnikova, Ms. Sangratu Tamadil, and Mr. Bim Singh. And also, the Honorable all participants from various regions and countries who have attended the International Talk Show organized by the Psychology Study Program, Faculty of Psychology, Satya Wacana Christian University, Indonesia. Praise Almighty God, because for His grace, we were able to return again in this very precious opportunity. The Honorable ladies and gentlemen, this International Talk Show is still a part of the Survivability from Pandemic webinar series about Batik, as it has been held since October 2. This is the first international talk show that is being held in a series of psychology master's webinars, Psychology Faculty, Satya Wacana Christian University. In this international talk show, we present very special speakers who are, of course, very reliable in introducing cultural characters, especially Batik, through each of the works in the eyes of the world. On this occasion, we will enjoy the interactive and interesting talk show atmosphere from the perspective of different countries. In conclusion, I would like to once again thank all the speakers as well as the participants, and also on behalf of the committee, I would like to express my deepest apologies if any of our words and actions are not pleasing to all of your hearts. Please have a good and blessing talk show today, and God bless us everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Menon, for your speech. Now, next, I'm pleased Mrs. Berta Esti Ari Prasetya, SPSIM, Dean of Faculty of Psychology, Satya Christian University, to give a welcome to us. Please, Mrs. Berta Esti Ari Prasetya.
Okay, thank you. Shalom, blessings are all of us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for everyone, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to extend my warmest welcome to each and every one of you in our international talk show as part of our webinar series, which is held by the Magister Science of Psychology, Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana Salatiga. This program is in collaboration with DPD Jateng Fox Point, World Friend of Batik, Gerakan Cinta Batik sebagai Mahakarya Indonesia, Batik Pakualaman, Indonesia Pluralism Institute, Apindo Central Java and Yogyakarta. I would like to greet the Honorable Head of Magister Science Psychology Department Psychology Study Program, Ibu Dr. Susana Prapunoto, MA Psy, the Honorable Head of Bachelor of Psychology Study Program, Ibu Ratriana Y.E. Kusumiati, MSc Psychologist, Our Excellency Bapak H.E. Jauhari Oratmangun, our Duta Besar RI for Republik Rakyat China and Mongolia, and also the Honorable William Kwan, Bapak William Kwan, and also the Honorable Dr. Randes Felix Sutandi, MHKS, Chairman of Central Java DPD, Fox Point, Indonesia, the Honorable Bapak Yohanes Handoyo Budi Sejati Esa as Chairman of the Fox Point Indonesia National Leadership Council, as well as our directors or chairs of parties we collaborate with. And also our honorable and respected speakers, Mr. Musa Widyat Mojo as senior designer from Indonesia. Good morning. And also the Honorable Ms. Anastasia Sainikova, the designer from Russia. The Honorable Ms. Sang Ratu Tama Adil from Texas, USA. And also the Honorable Mr. Bim Singh, the owner of the Silks Textile Devlok, India, and our moderator, Mr. Aprianta. And of course, our lecturers of Satya Wacana Christian University, all distinguished participants from all regions. Good morning, everyone. First of all gratitude and praise to our Lord and Almighty, who is merciful, how health and strength have been bestowed on us at this time, as we are still able to be here, even though in an online situations, but in a healthy conditions without any shortcomings. In fact, we are still allowed also to share knowledge, learn from each other, even in the conditions of COVID-19 pandemic. And this time we will join in the talk show Batik and National Character in the changing era. As we know that the pandemic has affected and made a tremendous impact, not only in terms of health, but also in the economy of the nations and society. And one thing that is affected is Batik industry is one of our nation's heritage. Batik, which since October 2, 2009, has received UNESCO recognitions as the original culture and intangible cultural heritage of Indonesia. Thus, UNESCO has revoked Malaysia's claim as the heir and owner of the batik. As we know that batik is now no longer considered clothing for the elderly only, but has become a trending fashion where the demand for batik productions has increased tremendously. This makes batik, which was once originally a form of traditional work, using chanting as part of an artwork, to become part of mass production with stems or even industrial printing machine. The form of social relations that used to occur in batik industry between owner, in Japanese we call them juragan, and employees, which was once considered as part of big family members, has been replaced by a pure business system. Currently, the government has not yet explicitly actually protected the form of traditional batik as a work of art, the handmade. It has not yet been clearly distinguished from batik in forms of printed batik as part of the pure industry. Cheating sometimes even occurs by combining printed or stamped batik with additional handwritten, and then they may be claimed as authentic batik products and sold as expensive. Dealing with such unfair competitions, the government has no reliable control instruments or law enforcement. All this happened because of demands, the existence of cheap and affordable batik productions. But this condition at the same time, it may threaten the continuity of batik as form of authentic handmade cultural heritage. Other issues that arise this time is also because of the pandemic. According to batik workers in Palawan, for example, batik production decreased by 50 to 80% due to the large number of batik's wholesale shops in Jakarta closed due to the impact of the coronavirus. It is therefore both of these issues may become crucial topic that we need to address as an effort to maintain the continuity of this Indonesia masterpiece, as well as part of our celebrations of National Batik Day. This activity is one of the webinar series held by the Psychology Master Science Program, Satya Wacana Christian University, and to support this program into 21st year anniversary of the psychology department of psychology faculty. For colleagues who are just joining our webinar series for the first time, I would like to introduce Faculty of Psychology as what it was established on June 23rd, 1999, and currently has two psychology study program. One is bachelor program in psychology that has been granted as accredited by an A score, and master's degree in psychology that has been accredited B. As part of our commitment to our students since 2015 and 2019, this program has received research grants from DICTI every year, starting with National Strategic Research Program grant, and then PASCA grant, which allow around 42 students to get the support fund for their thesis writing. Cooperations and support for the students do not stop there, but also in the form of support for submitting intellectual property rights. So far, more than 37 titles have been recognized, and at least 15 book titles have been published by permanent lecturers of master program. Several of them are in collaborations between lecturers and students. Support is also provided with the collaborations between lecturers and students in accredited journal writings as well as international journal writings. So we will warmly welcome you if any of you want to join us to study in Magister Science of Psychology, Universitas Kristen Satya Wacana Salatiga. Apart from that, as your information, since 2016, our faculty has also launched its visions and mission to study psychology, especially from a cross-cultural approach. Therefore, in this good opportunity, I would like to invite you, if there is any of you, ladies and gentlemen, who are interested in collaborating in the fields of education, research, and community development or service with them of cross-cultural psychology, we'll be happily welcome you to cooperate with us. I would like also to express my deepest gratitude to the speakers and moderators who have been so generous in contributing their thoughts and time to all of us, and also to all of the parties that have been collaborating with us in these special occasions this morning. My highest gratitude also goes to the committee where this webinar series is led by Ms. Mernan Zierlinda, Simage SPDK MSI, And all of these VMIR activities are initiated by Ibu Dr. Susana Prapunoto, MI Psy, as the head of the Magister Science Psychology, Universitas Kristen Satyawacana. Thank you very much for all of their extraordinary efforts, which allow these activities to be organized very well. Last but not least, on behalf of the SVG, Universitas Kristen Satyawacana, the Faculty of Psychology, I apologize if things are not yet perfect in organizing this activity, and if there is any words that I said or that is not pleasing to you all. Finally, have a fantastic international talk show, and I hope that we all get the benefit from this activity. God bless us. Shalom. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Berta, for your speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to our amazing speakers today. First, we have Mr. Musa Widiatmojo. He is a fashion designer from Indonesia. He graduated from fashion design at Drexel University, Philadelphia, USA for a BSc on 1990. He has obtained some awards and achievements as well, such as Dean of Student International Academic Achievement Awards on 1989, Callahan Achievement Award on 1989 as Design Excellence, Drexel's Fashion Group Award on 1988, Henry Callahan Philadelphia Award, the Best Evening Wear Design, and so on. Currently, he is actively building the national fashion world through some organizations, involvement, and activities. Now we are going to see Mr. Musa Widiatmojo a little bit more.
Saya mendesain ini kan untuk wanita, jadi saya harus benar-benar memahami wanita Indonesia itu seperti apa, dan itu sangat simpel ya wanita, tapi sebenarnya intinya sangat kompleks gitu kan, dalam arti kata kehidupannya, karakternya, terus bicara soal gaya hidupnya yang berubah, tanggung jawabnya. Jadi memang saya harus mempelajari karena marketnya juga wanita. Yang dikeluarkan ada 60 set busana. Materialnya kita berusaha memakai semaksimal mungkin dari bahan Indonesia, walaupun tidak tenun tradisional tapi tenun-tenun modern, kain modern buatan pabrik. Kita banyak pakai lace, pakai satin, cantung, chiffon, duchess, renda, kemudian manik-manik gitu kan. Jadi sebetulnya banyak juga pekerjaan tangannya, detail-detail.
we have Miss Sang Ratu Tama Adil. She is an artist of Ratu Adil Artworks and founder of Sahwa Hita Dance Group, Indonesian Cultural Dance Dallas Fort Worth. She graduated from Texas Academy of Figurative Art Fort Worth, Texas on 2019, and she is board member of Dallas Filipino Lions Club, also vice president of SDNP International, Arlington, Texas, and also member of Mansfield Commission for the Art, and also member of Kimball Art Museum. Then we have Miss Anastasia Salnikova. She is a textile artist from Russia. She is an enthusiastic art and craft explorer with experience teaching arts and language in offline. And she is very passionate about textile designing, like batik and embroidery and fashion. She is graduated from Vladivostok State University of Economics and Service, Russia, for BE in Textile Technology from 2010 until 2013. And currently, she is a student at Rangrit International School for Art in Jaipur, India. Also, she has experience for Batik workshop leader at Elan, Kolkata on January 2020. Guest at Jogja Fashion Show on November 2019. English and art teacher at Roll, Canton, China from March 2019 until January 2020. And also Batik Explorer and Ambassador in Yogyakarta, Indonesia from January 2018 until November 2018. Now we are going to see Anas a little bit more through the video.
Bertiup sejuk angin desaku, burung-burung pun bernyanyi merdu.
So, ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to know more about Miss Sang Ratu Tama Adil also. But before that, we already show you the profile of Miss Anna before. We are really sorry because that's some technician problems. So if you can see right now. So now we are going to know more about Miss Sang Ratu Tama Adil through the video.
Hi, my name is Ratu Adil. I'm an artist. I'm originally come from Yogyakarta, Indonesia. I've been living in Mansfield since 2010. I love being here, and then most of my artworks basically are painting and some crafts, and then I like to playing with a lot different medium. Okay, so I came from the family of artists in Yogyakarta, and then that's why like it's kind of like I don't have like a formal education with it, but I saw like a lot of an adult artists, and then like my family, like you know, and my friends around, and then Yogyakarta is also like a kind of like a cultural city in Indonesia. It's also like a tourism center. That's why like a lot of people coming in. I like and love to see humans interaction, the differences, the diverse, and then of course the cultural, because I'm from Java, and then as a Japanese woman, sometimes we speak up not like verbally, or not just, you know, so explicit. So we use like a lot of symbolism. That's why like in this, like a lot of my painting, basically like the inspiration comes from my daily life, but I'm trying like to express it in a visual art with a lot of symbolism. I don't know, I think like because like the art is already in my blood. My father, like they I mean like my family, my parents, they raised me with the art. And then it's already like I live with those. It's already here. I don't know. It's like when I was born, it's already like, you know, born in the artist family, and then everything is already here. That's why I'm not really good like how to express myself sometimes. And then I think like visual art or painting is like the best thing for me, like to send a message or talk about something, especially the one that happened in my mind, because I always have a random thought every time.
Does being from a different country coming to America, does that give you just a different perspective on the artwork, and you know, just kind of a whole different viewpoint when it comes to putting together stuff like that?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because like when I was in Indonesia as well, like in a college, I mean like I learned. I mean like I went to university, Gajah Mada University, and then I learned the major is in sociology. So. I really love the one that I told you again. I really love about socioculture. I'm an observer, but I'm not a journalism. So I'm not like the one that I'm not journalist. Is that the one that can write, the one that can express like with the writing or something like that. And then color and symbolism, pattern. That's the thing that I think express and suit me better. I wanna take my viewers like what's that called? Travel through my painting, travel to my mind, travel to different world, travel to my culture, including like in here, sometimes I exhibit like a lot of American culture back to Indonesia. So it's kind of like, I feel like I want to be like the bridge between like the Indonesian culture and the United States culture, because like trust me, it's when you already live here, it's totally different, and we have like a lot in common. So we can be like really create art without any, without any pressure.
So for the last speaker, I would like to introduce you, Mr. Bhim Singh. He is an owner of Silk Textile Devlog from India. He is a founder of Devlog, the Silk People, India's leading brand known for its textile and fashion design, and also one of the most premium brands for silk and woven print fabric, Seri and Dokta in India since 2002. He is working with the team where they usually employ various artisans from different parts of the world, like 800 artisans for block printing and hand embroidery artists from all over India, and various artisans from Indonesia, Thailand, and Cambodia. Now we are going to see a little bit more about Mr. Bhim. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to mention that the presence link will be shared in the comments section 15 minutes before this event ends. So please pay attention to the filling instruction carefully so that there are no errors on the certificates printed online. So our talk show today will be guided by a moderator, Mr. Aprianto. Good morning, Mr. Aprianto.
Hello, good morning, Claudia.
Good morning, thank you for joining us. Okay, Mr. Aprianto will guide our talk show today with two purposes, which are first, listening to the thought of community leaders from 4 countries, Indonesia, Russia, India, and USA, regarding to the role of Batik as a cultural entity that reflects the character of the nation, especially in this changing era. And second, supporting Batik businessmen to gain new insights about the global market and understand the difficulties in developing Batik business, Batik fashion for nations with different cultures. So without waiting any longer, ladies and gentlemen, let's start our talk show today. Please welcome our moderator, Mr. Aprianto.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Claudia, for giving me this very wonderful moment to me. Good morning, all participants joining this international talk show on Batik and national characters, especially in the changing era. I'm honored and delighted to moderate this special event as part of Batik Day celebrations on 2nd October 2020. My name is Timotheus Aprianto. I live in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, the same city as Ms. Ratu Adil. Hello, Ms. Tata. I beg that you also feel homesick to Yogyakarta. Yogyakarta is a very nice city. This morning we have a little bit sour, but it's still very nice weather today. Then I am one of the founding members of World Friends of Batik that support also this international talk show programs. This World Friends of Batik has been established during the GIBB events in 2018. So about 2 years later, during the Yogyakarta International Batik Binneale, that we have a very nice themes called Innovation for Sustainable Futures. So at that time, the theme was very interesting. So during that events, we initiated to have World Friends of Batik. So we hope that through these moments, we can gather all the friends of Batik around the world to elaborate and to collaborate and to communicate to develop Batik to be one of the most precious things as an intangible heritage of humanity. Then this morning even become more special because we have all distinguished speakers from Indonesia. We have Mr. Musa Widyatmojo. Good morning, Mr. Musa Widyatmojo. Sorry, maybe it's still muted, Mr. Musa.
Yes, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Musa. How are you this morning?
Great, great, wonderful.
You look so fresh, and as usual, you look so, trendy.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Perhaps you become one of the most influential trendsetter in Batik in Indonesia. We really admire your designs, your fashion show. Become one of the most distinguished events.
Yes, thank you so much for the appreciation.
Yes, and then we also have distinguished speaker from Russia, from Vladivostok, Miss Anastasia Sarnikova, or we can call her Anna. Anna, are you with us now already? Hello, Anna. Maybe Miss Claudia or Miss Indah can help us to connect to Anna. I think Anna should join us this morning. And then also later on we can greet Anna. Anna, are you with us now? Yeah. I hope that all the participant, the team can help us to connect to Anna. Then the third speaker will be Miss Ratu Adil, Miss Ratu Tama Adil, or we can call her Miss Tata. Hello, Miss Tata. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. It's supposed to be my bedtime.
Yes, I know. It's very late in the evening right now. It's almost
I know.
midnight.
I dress up for you guys this
Oh,
late.
that's very lovely of. So yeah, it's about almost midnight times in the US. Yeah.
Yes, it's almost midnight.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
I hope that you can give us your contributions about our topic today, especially related to the national characters and how Batik can contribute to strengthen our national characters in this changing era, in these changing times. Then,
Yeah, hopefully.
thank you, Tata. And then our fourth speaker is supposed to be Mr. Bim Sings, but I beg your pardon, all distinguished speakers and participants, that last night I just got, this morning I just got a message from Mr. Bim that his uncle just passed away last night. And then the funeral, according to Hindu culture, is going to be held this morning. So he says, very sorry not to be able to join these international talk show programs. So I already sent and expressed my deepest condolences to Mr. Bim's family. So that will be a kind of a big funerals according to Hindu cultures, because Mr. Bim is one of the very famous family in India, as he have reasons his very good business called Devlogs. So without reducing our substance of this international talk show, this morning's we have a very nice topic, that is Batik and national character in the changing era. And then first of all, before I'm gonna get more detail to talk with our great international speaker this morning, let me share my ideas to organize these international talk show programs. We will have three sections for this talk show. The first is the interactive sections. So each speaker will be given around 10 to 15 minutes. So Mr. Musa, Ms. Tata, you can have more around 10 to 15 minutes to talk on questions that I will ask later on. And the second section will be about question and answer from participants. Therefore, please welcome to write down all questions or ideas to participants if you want to have a question to the speaker. And the third section will be closing remarks. So each speaker, you will have time to state your closing remarks. Then let me share again some objectives that have been mentioned by our host today, Ms. Claudia. We have two objectives actually, but I would like to add one more objective in order to strengthen our ideas about how Batik can contribute to have a national, to be one of the national characters in this changing era. So first, we would like to listening the thoughts, the thinking, and the contribution of the community leader, because we have Mr. Musa and we have Ms. Tata and we have also Ms. Anna, and they are all community leaders from different countries, from Indonesia, from Russia, and then from USA, from India. Unfortunately, we don't have our speaker from India, about how Batik as a cultural entity that reflects the characters of the nation, especially in this changing era, can contribute to strengthen our national identity. That's the first objective. And then the second, we need to elaborate more and to support the ideas how we can develop Batik industry, especially how we can gain insight or ideas or maybe some opinions about how we can move forward from this time of pandemic to the future, to the new normal era, using many ideas and concepts. And then I would like to add one more a little bit, because Batik, as we know that Batik is one of the intangible heritage of humanity, so we need to preserve Batik. I'm very happy that the deans of psychology department, psychology faculty, Ms. Berta, already have spoken very nice and comprehensive speech about Batik. So she mentioned that this pandemic give a very strong challenge to Batik. So we need to cope with these situations. And we believe that by these times of pandemic, we can get through these times. Because if we want to get through this time, we need to think we as we, not we need to think we as me. So we need to develop and to collaborate, but we try to strengthen our awareness so that people can love more Batik as part of their culture. That is why it's very important to have the second objectives. So first, I will give the time to Mr. Musa Widiatmojo. Mr. Musa, what do you think that Batik has the role in strengthening cultural entities in your perspective?
Yes, first of all, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity and good morning to everyone, or good evening. Basically, I think the world or Indonesia already know that Batik is one of our cultural heritage that very strongly and very well developed the technique and the pattern in Indonesia. Because if we look at the basic, the foundation of Batik making, by resisting colors into a textile, I think we found the technique is most in every country also in the world, like in Egypt, in China, in Japan. They have their own way of using the technique of batik making. But in terms of the tools, they are not using chanting. Chanting is one of the character tool that is developed very progressive and very well in Indonesia, and also a stem that made from a copper, because in many countries like in India, they use stem, but the stem is made from wood or board, you know. So that is the strength character of Indonesian batik, the tool that we are using. And secondly is the character of Indonesian batik is about, in terms of the Indonesia, we call it isen. Isen, it means filling in. It means that the drawing in Indonesian batik is always have a detail. Why? Because basically the foundation of Indonesian culture and traditional is very detailed and very complicated way of expressing themselves through batik or other culture product. And the other thing that is also, we have to remember that the foundation of Indonesian way of dressing is cloth, because there are so many different cloth that is being produced in Indonesia, which most every region of the country have their own way of cloth making, like weaving, like ikat, such as like the new one that Christian Dior has just launched, that they use the ikat. We call it endak ikat, that produced from Bali. And last year, if we look at the collection of Christian Dior, they also use batik, but the batik that they use is the batik from Africa. And Africa people, they don't call it batik, but they call it wax printing. Now, that is just the way of their making the strategy about branding, because batik is associated with Indonesia. So in another part of the country, they use wax printing. Although if we study or research about how about the history of wax printing in Africa, basically in the year of 1,800 years, the batik from Java was bring to Africa. So actually, originally it all started from Javanese batik, but it was designed by the Dutch colonial at that time to produce a batik in Java with the different design, different color that much more suitable to the African people. And that's why we can see the difference that the motif or the pattern between the African batik and the Indonesian batik. So I think in terms of as the culture of Indonesian identity, I think we are already ahead of all of the other country who produce waxing resisting. But the only thing that we need to do is just to more elaborate between the understanding of a cloth or a batik design and fashion design. When we talk about batik cloth, it is different when we talk also with batik fashion. So we have to understand which one that we are focusing, which one we are selling, and which one that we are going to branding. Because in terms of the process of creative design, it's different when we are creating batik and when we are creating fashion from batik cloth.
Mr. Musa, I beg your pardon. This will be a very interesting, but I would like to stop a little bit. because you mentioned that Christian Dior also use batik in their international products, and unfortunately they use wax printing from Africa instead of Japanese batik or a traditional batik from Indonesia. I will come to that later on. But
Yes.
would you elaborate your design philosophy that fashion is not only to admire but must be wearable? People
Yeah.
know you as a fashion guru. Mr. Indonesian people know you as a fashion guru. I watch your CV and also your website that it's very clear that you mentioned fashion is not only to admire but must be wearable. Could you elaborate this more?
Yes, basically, I was trained in my college that when we look at fashion, we should look at two different things. You know, fashion as a product, because fashion is not only an art. You know, when we're talking an art, it doesn't mean that mostly when the artists make an art, it's about their dream, their ego, their philosophy, and they're making art. But when we are talking about fashion, we're talking about commercial art, or we're talking about applied art, which is when we're talking about applied art, it means we applied art to the human body. That is fashion. When we're talking about fashion as a commercial art, it means that we are selling fashion as a product, you know. And that's why when we are approaching fashion, you know, fashion actually is very complicated, and not many people realize that fashion is that really very scientific background, you know, and there is so many rule and then so many concept behind the fashion. And the reason why one of my philosophy about fashion is not just to be admired, it must be wearable. Because when fashion is only stop at the admiration, then it becomes only a dream. It's not become a reality. Fashion become a reality when you see the fashion on the street, where common regular people wearing the product. But when you see fashion on the stage of the catwalk, fashion still a dream from the designer that give the idea this is how the new way of dressing, or this is the new way of how the designer incorporate with batik textile or tenun ikat. So that is why my reason is I am creating fashion to be worn, not to be displayed or to be admired.
Mr. Musa, at this point, I really admire your philosophy, your comprehensive understandings about the difference between textile industry and the fashion industry. It is very clear and comprehensive understanding for us. Could you give us your suggestion or your philosophy or your knowledge, how we can distinguish between textile industry and fashion industry? For the
Okay, so
for ordinary people.
Yes. Basically, textile is the foundation or the main ingredient for fashion. So before we talk fashion, then when we're talking about batik, then we're talking about cloth, you know, textile. And cloth and textile have their own challenges in developing the technique making, the design, the color, you know, before we bring it into the fashion world. And then after the job is done from the side of the batik making process, then it will bring to the table of the designer. So the designer, actually the fashion designer or the product designer, actually bringing new added value to the textile that is already made or produced. Okay. And that is why when we're talking about batik, we're talking about two different things. Are we promoting selling the cloth of batik, or we are promoting and selling the fashion of batik? That is two different things. But when we're talking about promoting or bringing Indonesian batik to the world, right? As you mentioned earlier, there is like a global market. We have to understand that before we can enter the global market, we have to understand about local market first. And then when we try to bring out Indonesian batik to a different continent, right? We have to understand that every region continent, let's say like China, and then Japan, and then Europe, and then America, they have their own taste. They have their own flavor. They have their own lifestyle. So we cannot just bring any batik that is wonderfully made or wonderfully designed to New York, for example, because we have to understand that New York people have their own character, right? And then we cannot also bring just a regular batik, any batik to China. No, because we have to understand that we can imagine also that New York people is different with the Chinese people in terms of the way they are dressing, in terms of the weather, the culture, the lifestyle. So in terms of the how we are going to bring batik into a global market, that is another step, right? Because when we're talking a global market, it means it is a global taste, a global lifestyle, right? A global culture. And then what is define the meaning of global culture or global taste, right? Right now, all the world of fashion is dominated by the Western, right? Like what we are wearing right now, what I'm wearing right now is dominated by Western. Because why? Because this is a shirt, a men's shirt, right? But it's just only using the batik motif pattern, right? So in a way, when we are talking bringing Indonesia with the identity of Indonesia, we have to be careful because after all, there is an old saying that customer is always right, and then customer is a king and a queen. So it means when we want to take the New Yorker people or the Chinese people or the Parisian people as our king or our queen who will buy our product, so we have to listen and to understand that the Parisian people are different lifestyle with New Yorker people. So they have a different taste, different eyes. And the difference of the preferable taste and lifestyle, it is okay, right? It doesn't mean that Paris is better than New York better than Indonesia. No, everything have the uniqueness. So in terms of when we are going back to the textile industry, we have to do the right thing, because if we're not doing the right thing, we keep on pushing the designers, fashion designer, to make the product with the textile. So it means we are only nurturing, developing the industry of fashion itself, but we left the industry of batik making.
Thank you very much, Mr. Musa, for giving us a very comprehensive understandings about how we can distinguish textile industry as ingredients to fashion industry. It's very clear, and you have been passing through several questions that I have already. It's very clear. One more question, following question. What do you think about batik trends in Indonesia and in the global markets? Is it you know, all right, or is it progressive?
No, I think we have a lot of. We have to be honest in the when we're talking about the technique, the technique making of or the producing of batik making in Indonesia. We are very advanced when we're talking about other country. And secondly, we also have to remember that everything that is done or made by hand, right? We should remember by the historical background and the reality that everything that's made by hand is never ever being cheap. It's always getting expensive and more expensive. That's why when we creating the traditional way of making batik, which is using our hand, it means we have to make it really unique and we have to make it really different. Then we can have the value of money through the batik product. So I think what we have to focus is just to remember that the one thing that we need to improve and to revolutionize is the design. The one thing that pleasing to the eyes, right? Because when the eyes of Indonesian people, it looks different with the eyes of European people or Japanese or Chinese or American people. So the main, I think the main problem, the major problem in batik industry in Indonesia is just about the design of the motif itself, that we have to generate and then we have to come up with some modern design. Because remember, when we're talking fashion, fashion is about the present and the future, right? Fashion is not about the past. The past is about references, about idea, about inspiration. That is the past, right? So when we're talking now and the future, so we also have to remember when we design the pattern or the motif of batik, we remember that we're designing for now and for the future. So with the design that is already been passed through from our years and years ago generation, we use it only for inspiration, not for a copied design, which is nowadays it's still being copied, repeated, repeated, and that is not fashion. So that is probably what I can give the perspective about when we're talking about batik. So we have to really be honest and really listen to what is the world of batik, what is the world of fashion, and then how the batik should be done, should be developed, and how we should market batik through the world. Yeah, probably that is my point of view regarding on batik as the cultural identity and batik as the positioning batik in the batik industry and then fashion industry.
Thank you so much, Mr. Musa. I'm Claudia. I'm really sorry because it looked like Mr. Aprianto just logged out. So thank you so much for the explanation. Probably we have to wait a little bit more for Mr. Aprianto. Can you hear us? I cannot find him in the participants column.
Okay, maybe the line is off.
Yeah, probably yes. Maybe the committee will help us to contact Mr. Aprianto again to join us.
He's already there. He's already here.
Okay.
Ready there.
We are really sorry for this inconvenience. Ladies
No,
and
it's
gentlemen.
okay because it is part of the technology. So it's understandable.
I think you need to unmute it. I think you need to unmute it, sir.
Oh yeah, probably Mr.
I'm so
Aprianto.
sorry that I have a bit trouble with my internet connection, Mr. Musa, and all the distinguished participants. And you have mentioned clearly about how batik become batik trends in global market and in national markets. Is it a progressive in your mind, or is it just so?
Honestly speaking, in terms of the batik industry itself, when we are talking about the creativity design, I feel like it is stuck. It means it doesn't do any progress because through my eye as a designer, which is trained to see the present and the future, I don't see much of interesting pattern batik that is produced now, okay? But as a designer, we are trained to be creative, to manage the situation. So in a way, as I mentioned it to you before, that we, as a fashion designer, we can make the batik cloth will be interesting and then will be as fashionable as it can. But that is the focus of being a fashion designer. But what I'm asking right now is how about the focus of being the batik designer or the textile designer? And that is the question that we have to ask in Indonesia. That's why I keep on saying that we need to revolutionize the industry of batik itself.
Wow.
Because of the condition that we are selling batik now and we're selling batik for the future. That we have to remember. But the design of the batik basically is a repetition of what is already been done. And fashion, it never done that system. Fashion is always looking for the new thing. So when we're talking about I love fashion and I want to work in the fashion people are the most adaptable and then the most out of the box people. And if you're into the comfortable zone, forget it that you will be live in the fashion world, because fashion is about changing the new look,
Dynamic.
new concept.
Yeah, Miss Tata, this is very interesting that Mr. Musa just said about we need to have a revolutionary industry on textile. And then what do you think about this, Miss Tata?
Well, Mr. Musa, I believe you are the fashion guru. I cannot compare with him, like talking about fashion. I such a clumsy sometimes. According to fashion, I need to admit that. But let me talk on behalf as an Indonesian diaspora that live here in the United States.
Oh,
So,
yeah. That's
yeah.
interesting.
So I just want to share my experience because, like, well, as the moderator like said for the first time, how could like batik as a what's that? It's kind of like a cultural identity for us. If you see in my profile, I'm a board member of Dallas Filipino Lions Club, which is like I'm with those Filipino guys, you know. And then like how I distinguish myself, like I dye my hair. you know. I dye my hair and then I look like Filipino. And then how when I do that kind of like the social activity and then I distinguish myself as an Indonesian, they recruit me because they knows like, you know, I can work with them. So that's why I'm joining with them. And then we share like almost like the same culture. But long story, short story, I use batik. And then they, as Mr. Musa also mentioned before, we are already like well known about that, about like, you know, batik is from Indonesia. And then like how batik is really popular in Indonesia. Even like a lot of people, especially the one that a middle class, upper middle class, usually they already know like a batik is, oh, batik is from Indonesia, batik is from Indonesia. But as an artist, and then work in a lot of social activities makes me have kind of like a obligation like to educate not only the people like the upper middle class that have opportunity like to travel a lot, but also like just the, you know, the middle class and the low middle class. And then what's that called, the batik making, because like a lot of art event over here. And then I believe like a lot of also the Indonesian diaspora, sometimes also the consulate or the Indonesian embassy, they have like a class how to making batik. And then like they have kind of bazaar how to, you know, selling batik. But mostly, you know, the people that came to the show usually is like, you know, just another Indonesian diaspora.
Oh,
That's
I
why,
see.
yeah, that's why like a lot of us as the Indonesian diaspora kind of like have the I mean like it's kind of like not responsibility. I mean like it's kind of like a kind of responsibility as us. I mean like for us, because like, you know, we don't want like people know us as a Filipino, for example. We don't want me
Some
like
are
people know me as a
some are
Vietnamese.
pragmatic, and then some are really a lover of batik, something like that.
Yes, yes. So kind of like that's why based on my experience, when I do like the art event or something, I explain to the audience like how the batik making, and then yeah, I look back to the history and then say, you know, how the philosophy of the pattern that we use to symbolize things, because that's actually like the strength of Indonesian batik. Because like my best friend, she's from Nigeria, and she sell like a lot of
Nigeria.
Ankara. You know, Mr. Musa, like Ankara, right? The Nigerian textile that you said before. Yeah, the wax printing. Yeah, she sell like a lot. She's kind of like a shoe designer and clothing designer with all Ankara. And then I collaborate with her sometimes, and then we just like trying to find something in common. So, you know, just to live in harmony, we need like to find something in common, right? So like we have something in common, and then how to distinguish the Indonesian batik with the wax printing from African, for example, like that. I use those philosophy. So before the event, usually I'm going like to look back my literature or Google or something like that, and then look back and then see, okay, this color is symbolize this one. This color in symbolize this one. This pattern is for this, and this one is that's kind of like a, well, the Indonesians say it like a system kebut semalam. Like I just learned it like a day before, something like that. But that's really helped me a lot, like just to, you know, trying to represent batik as our cultural heritage.
Yeah, Tata, I should admire that. I like your fabulous appearance. Wonderful.
Thank you. This is peranakan.
Oh, that's great. That's great. You studied sociology at Gajah Mada University, and you mentioned you wrote also that through art you can bridge the two different cultures. You can build you can improve the multicultural understanding between two countries like America and Indonesia. And you also mentioned that through art, you can go into a deeper mystical journey. Could you elaborate and tell us about your philosophy?
All right. raising by eccentric father and raising, I mean, like I was raised in Java. And then of course, like a lot of, you know, history, as you say, like a history, myth, a legend, everything is kind of like a combine. And that's inspired me so much about that, you know, about me when I'm doing my art. And then, well, you know, to be honest, I wasn't really interested about my own culture, my own heritage. I kind of like the rebels because I was raised by MTV. I was raised at that time. I was raised by MTV, like the reality show and something like that, and then a lot of video movie, you know, like a movie clip or music clip, something like that. So I kind of like always project like to the Western, and then when I move here, it's part like, oh my gosh, this maybe because I'm not moving to California or New York. I live in Texas, the one that more conservative, and then like, dang. This is like totally different the one that I saw. Like even people over here, like sometimes it's like more, you know, compared with Jogja, Jogja is more open-minded than people here.
That's so. I believe so,
So
that Texas is more conservative in their minds.
yes, that's sure. I mean, like that's the fact. That's the truth. Like Jogja is more open-minded. They're more welcoming. They are more. I mean, like that's the thing that I really proud about the Indonesian people that a lot of people don't know sometimes. That's the one that I'm trying like to send that message to everyone. It's like, you know, how humble we are, how friendly we are, how open-minded, and how advanced like our civilization as a nation. Including, you know, if you see Batik, it's like one of these, you know, just that's one like, simple example about how advanced our civilization as a nation. So
Thank you.
yeah,
That's
something
very
like that.
interesting. That's very interesting points. I really like to follow your story and then your Instagram, your YouTube. It's very nice. And Mr. Tata, you mentioned, Mr. Musa. Mr. Musa, you mentioned that the batik trends right now is in a position of the stagnancy. It's a stuck, not really well developed. What are the factors that influence why batik trends, either it is in a global trend or in a national trend, become stuck?
Why? As I mentioned before, when we're talking about fashion and when we're talking about trend, actually what is trend? Trend is a direction, right? A direction, it means always moving forward, right? When we're talking about direction, we normally we always talk about to move forward, to move ahead, never backward, right? Now, when we're talking about how to bring batik or any traditional cloth into the fashion world, it means that the cloth or the traditional itself have to be ready to be changed, right? When the people who are making it into, in a way, more of the traditional philosophy, traditional way of making, it means it will always being in a small market, right? Because that is a very niche market. I don't say that there is not a market of the traditional cloth or traditional design. Yes, there is a market about the classic design, the traditional design, the culture design. But the market is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, which is when we're talking about modern fashion, the market getting bigger and bigger and better. And when we're talking about fashion, we're not talking about medium class, low class, upper class, or the premium luxury class, because in each of the segment market, they have their own fashion, right?
Fashion.
So for me this is one of the things that the Indonesian batik maker needs to be honest to themselves, that we need a collaboration, right? In Paris, in New York, or even in Japan, what I've been look at through and study is when we're talking about art, there is always a collaboration, right? That is
Not
that we
competition.
never, yes. There is that one thing that we forget in Indonesia. Why? Because for me to be a great Indonesian designer, I need to be supported with the great textile designer or great textile product. In this case, we're talking about batik. That's why when we look at the Christian Dior, they always moving, right? Last year, they go to Africa. Before, they go to America Latin, right? And then now they go to Bali. And then 6 months later, they move to somewhere else. Why? Because changing. Why?
Yeah.
Because this is industry. We keep on offering creativity. We keep on offering a new product. And what I see when I go through exhibition or in terms of the traditional market, mostly majority, what I've seen is I already seen them all in terms of the batik pattern and batik motif. That's why in my collection, I use different kind of textile. Sometimes modern textile, sometimes batik, sometimes songket, sometimes ikat, sometimes tenun, sometimes lurik. It depends on what I see. It is very appealing to my eyes and very in line with what the market trend in terms of the fashion world.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's very futuristic for us to reflect and to criticize that challenges related to how batik can be the fashion trends for either global or local or domestic markets with the different segments.
Yes, I think the problem is, as the Indonesian country, I think we should not talking about fashion trend, right? What we're talking is about batik trend. When we're talking about batik trend, we're not talking about the trend of fashion batik, right? When we're talking about batik trend, it means just a direction. Let's say for this year, batik is all about kawung, right? That is the direction. So I need to see a million creativity on kawung. And then next year, let's say batik on Sido, right? Sido Mukti. And then the year after that, batik on Saung Galing, right? That is the trend. We're not talking about the fashion trend, but we are, as the batik producer, as the one that have the title from the UNESCO, I think we do need to have a batik trend. And then we need to start and then to take it seriously so we can offer the newness of batik itself, the design of the batik itself to the Indonesian market, to the regional market, to the continental market, and to the world. Because we are offering something different.
Wow, Mr. Musa, we really love your wisdoms. Anyway, do you have an online class for us to learn about fashion? Because we really find you a great fashion guru in Indonesia. We're really proud of you.
Thank you. Actually, I have, yes. Thank you. Actually, I have my YouTube program. It calls Fashion Guru, but I also have like IG Live, which is usually on Saturday. Each Saturday morning, I always talk about my experience, sharing my thinking or sharing my knowledge regarding on the fashion. So anyone who wants to look me up, you can look at my Instagram, which is musa.widiatmojo. Yeah, that is
Okay,
probably
we
what.
will, we will. We surely will. Do we have Anna already? Miss Anastasia, or uh, are you with us already?
Yes,
Miss
yes.
Anna?
Bent, good morning. I'm here.
Hello, Miss Anna. How are you doing? Hello.
Hello, great to see you. I'm doing great. I'm doing well. How about you, Angel?
You're wearing very nice batik, Anna. Very
Oh,
nice
thank you.
batik.
Um, but
Just a couple of days ago, I remember last week, we got pictures from Russia. I think our Indonesian embassy in Russia, they have programs with many Russian youth. They were wearing a batik. What do you think that batik trends becomes one of the most fashionable trends in Russia? Anna, maybe your mic is muted. Your mic is muted.
what's a pity?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So, Mr. Bianto, great to see you. The first of all, yes, it's a pleasure for me to witness that relationships between Indonesia and Russia become um, expanded day by day, and there's like beautiful collaboration between both. And yes, textile is everywhere around us. Motifs, some of them could be used for our people as well, but from Western mind, most like the easiest to accept is Mega Mendun motif. It's really beautiful one. It's artistic, but it's not too much heavy for our reality. So we can really use the portions in our daily outfits. The rest of designs, they are like too classic, and it's something very special for us. As a previous speaker already mentioned before, like each and every culture has their own taste, their own lifestyle, and designs could be suitable for that. So apparently, yes, we need some improvements. We need more and more collaborations, and I'm really happy that we have this event. So different people from different countries can share their knowledge, their experience, and maybe create something new for needs of each and every continent.
Yeah. Do you believe that batik as one of the precious intangible heritage of humanity can be a very strong national identity, especially for Indonesia, in a global community? Do you think so?
I think that we have to respect our culture, respect our roots, because every country has their own beauty. And about Indonesia, this is the royal art, royal heritage, what we have from the past centuries, supported by royal sultanate court, um, and improved day by day until these days. But now it's in real danger because we can see not so many young people are really aware about the value of itself. So of course it's underestimated. So we have to improve this situation by raising consciousness of both consumers and batik makers, because they sometimes even don't understand what kind of wonderful things they have in their own hands, what kind of gift, what kind of incredible art. So I'm really happy if we can support batik makers to understand that they don't have to give up, they have to keep on this journey. And
Yeah, you mentioned that many young people, because you have already experience in local community batik village in Gunung Kidul called Batik Siber Kreasi, with Mr. Guntur. So what do you think a good way to make young people love batik? How do we make people, especially young generation, to love more batik?
so the first of all, of course, everyone is following and pursuing their comfort and lifestyle. We have to promote batik by some, yes, related to fashion events, which is already made a lot in Indonesia, as I can see the past 3 to 4 years. Each and every year we have the fashion shows, we have beautiful exhibitions, and it's really impressed me a lot. But for youngsters, sometimes they don't understand the perspective. Like they think, if, oh, I will do batik, can I earn money or not? So we have to really support them. Good example, maybe, yeah, it's not really nice to compare, but still, we all know that in Malaysia also there are a lot of craftsmen who are making batik and all the things. So the government support them more, and I can see that situation is a little bit better. Like they're more interested in that and developing the new patterns also. And the last thing I found is like the one big collaboration between many communities. And that's, I think, what we also have to make in Indonesia, because we have a lot of rural areas and each and every one, they are like small and they're struggling. I've seen that all with my own eyes because I had an experience to live in the village in Indonesia, as local people do. Wake up as they do batik as they do. And it's really difficult, like they're not really supported by the government or anything else. They don't understand like, oh, will I have an income? Can I sell my batik today or not? But if they will together, they can be stronger. They can do more because they have more resources. They have more, even the creativity also, and the human resources and all those things. So like for example, I'm telling you, in Malaysia, they create the batik boutique, and that one is more to support the ladies who's busy in this field. They provide the free educational programs for them. They make sewing classes as well. They provide the facilities to stay and live, and many things. So the people become more and more interested in that and happy because they can see that improvements day by day and the feedback, and they feel safe because, okay, I will learn now something, and it's not only good that I have new skills, but I can provide my lifestyle. That's what I see. That's what I think we have to also keep in mind. Even I know these days, one of my teachers, Mr. Gunter, he also creating these things. He is always sharing the knowledge for the people. And I myself, I was promoting batik. I was going to local schools to talk to the young students and to explain about the fashion, and that batik is so good that there is no any boundaries. You can express your ideas, your designs, your uniqueness through the clothes, through the clothes you made with your own hands. And yes, for a while they like become more inspired, and they really start to do their studies with some kind of courage. And that's great, but one person can't do that. We need the community, the big community of open-minded people with the good heart.
Exactly, Anna. You have the same point as Mr. Musa already mentioned. about the needs of global collaboration, about the needs of massive collaborations amongst the community, amongst the academicians, and then also, especially also how we can improve the role of government to preserve and to develop batik, something like that. I would like to greet Miss Tata. Miss Tata, would you
Yes,
agree
sir.
that one of the key to develop batik and to make young people love batik more is through collaborations?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm a such believer of teamwork. I'm a huge believer of teamwork. And then of course, absolutely, that's a collaboration will be a good thing. And then talking, because let me speak on behalf of the fine artists, because all those the other like two our guest speakers, they're kind of like more applied art. They're kind of talking about the trend. But something that we need to also educate like to the youngest, especially my concern if like the Indonesian diaspora, our second generation, the third generation or something like that, had to make like, becomes like a strong Indonesian diaspora. It's like, beside like we're thinking about the fashion trend, we need like to also like preserve and then what's that called, make like a kind of like a really this is need teamwork as well, a big encyclopedia for us, like for the us like to educate like the young generation about like the basic foundation. What is batik? We don't I'm not talking about the business side. I'm not talking about how the trend and everything, but the foundation about batik itself as a cultural heritage, it needs to be like what's that called? It needs to be like in pattern. It needs to be like preserved. It needs to be like a still like the young people like no, okay, this is like the foundation. This is like the basic, and then after that we can go. We can like becomes more creative after we know like the basic. So for example, we know the red, yellow, and blue for the basic color. That's it. And then after that we can explore for that. But this is like also becomes my kind of concern and homework, how like I, even for myself, like I educate my own kids or the people next to me, just to know like this is like the foundation of batik as a cultural heritage, as the intangible heritage of humanity that you need like to preserve. This is like the basic foundation of it, and then you can creative, but not forget about like the foundation itself. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah. That's great. Do you think that the government should improve more on the efforts of preserving batik and to make batik strategy development better developed, better, I mean, it's better organized in our country, in Indonesia?
Absolutely. The government have a huge role about that. We need to admit it. I mean, like, I see by my own eyes, like, how the foreign minister over here, like the diplomats over here, they work really hard. And that's really, I say salute to them. And then of course, like the thing that I can proud of about the Indonesian diaspora is like they really work hard as well. They're willing to volunteer for all, how to promote our culture, how to make us like become a stronger community, how to make Indonesia, bring the beauty of Indonesia like to the outside world. So I think it's going to be like a really great if we, as Anna and Mr. Musa said, like how we can like collaborate as, as a team, just not only, for example, like some of the team, they become like the creative, like to find brainstorming about the new idea. the other team like how to marketing, the other team how to branding, the other team how to like educate like the youngsters about the, you know, about how this one is like a cultural heritage that we need to preserve. So that's going to be like, what's that called? Really powerful for us if we can make something like that.
Oh, that's great. You're also a mural artist painting. You do some mural paintings in US. So how do you express your love of cultures through mural painting in the US?
All right, to be honest, for my for to express my culture for now for mural, I never done that. Because like, yeah, the mural that I have is like, to be honest, it's kind of commission, and the other one is also what's that called, is also a teamwork with other artists, and that's already founded by the city of Dallas. So it's kind of, we need like to work according their agenda. Yeah, but mostly like for me myself, mostly I work like to my painting. That's the way like I express the culture that I have.
Okay, Pak Musa, Mr. Musa.
Yes.
We know that this pandemic really make lots of things collapse, including global supply chains and both fashion and textile industry is suffering from this pandemic. What do you think about these situations in general?
Well, in general, is this pandemic, it happened already, and it happened throughout the world without any exception. So as a human being, I think we have to respond the situation very wisely, right? So when we call it the new normal or the new era, it means that we are right now in the process of entering the new era. And what is the new era? What I can read right now, the new era, it will be something new, right? Because we call it new era. So it means if you're producing something old and then the world is already changing into a new era, it means that there is no connection between what we are making and what the customer is changing. Right now, when we look at the global economy, everyone is holding tightly on how they're spending money, right? So as a creative designer or textile designer, we should think about offering a new thing that will penetrate the market. So if we are not producing the new thing, right, the new design, the new concept, the new character, so probably what we're making, they're not selling, right? Because we are remembering we are not an artist. We are a designer. We are a commercial art designer. So we really do have to pay attention to what is happening with what is all going on. And we do have to focus on our own strength. Right now, if we want to focus on our own strength, yes, we have to focus on the ability of the Indonesian people to product their own textile, right? And then we also have to listen to the Indonesian market, right? That is the key about being adaptable to the changing of the world. So right now, we are not talking about the taste of globalization, but right now it's coming back to the taste of true identity. That's why the universe asks every human being to be stay at home, right? That is the message. Stay at home. It means that you have to understand yourself, where you are, what you can do with what you have. That is the message. And with that message, we have to create some newness product, some newness of batik motif, batik coloring, batik cloth, fashion product, culinary product, or whatever that will be bring it a new excitement to the new era of the new lifestyle. That is just my point of observation.
Oh, very, really inspiring. Your inspirations about the pandemic things that we need to reflect to this pandemic, that we please to stay at home, to reflect to yourself, your own identity. It is more important than the needs of the markets, especially on the material things. We need to develop more on our identity as part of our culture. Then Anna, would you say something about the challenge that we face during the pandemic?
Actually, I'm agree with Mr. Musa that really we are facing new phase when we're going to leave old market like offline things and going towards online. So many manufacturers have to really keep it in mind and focus on promoting themselves. It's up to them how they will do that. Through the collaborations with many fashion influencers, through some sources of social media, through any other ways to express. But it is very important now. It is the maybe basic way now how can we invite the new consumers and also to uh, to have that conversations with them, to understand what they need, how do they live now, what are their interests, because only through that, through deep understanding, we can achieve better results. And in my point of view, it's not such a bad thing what we are facing now as some people think. It's all about our minds. So really we have to change it towards the good things. And uh, it's good. With internet, with all these facilities, we can merchandise our things to many people, more audience as compared to the traditional market as we just having offline stuff. So I just only see the positive changes, but it just takes time. As everything new, we have to crush the previous things to build something new, more beautiful model which will work. That's what I see. And even like it's amazing. People from different continents now at the same time can share ideas and collaboration. There is no any boundaries. So this is my message. Maybe that's it.
In a short word, there's a very nice phrase that to support the people in this time of COVID-19 pandemic, we need to stay happy, to stay alert, to stay healthy, and stay optimistic. That is a hey-ho. Happy, and then stay alert, and then stay optimistic, and stay healthy. Miss Tata,
Excuse me,
in
Aprianto.
pardon?
I'm sorry for interrupt.
Yes, please.
Can you hear me? Basically,
Yes,
we have the ambassador of Indonesian ambassador of Republic of China and Mongolia here. Do you mind to please him, Mr. His Excellency Mr. Jauhari, to give some words for us, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. Pak Jauhari Oratmangun. It's very nice to meeting you again, Pak Jauhari. Remember that our last dinner times in Yogyakarta, December 2019. Pak Jauhari, would you please say some words? Hello, Pak Jawahari. Hello, His Excellency Pak Jawahari Aurat Mangun. Claudia, would you please help us to reach him?
I'm trying to. Would you mind to please wait a bit?
35 minutes more.
Okay. Probably we can continue once he join us. I will let you know.
Oh yeah, okay. Miss Tata, back to you again. Could you describe more a little bit about the situation of small medium enterprises in Dallas, Texas, in this time of COVID-19 pandemic? Because I know that you become one of the women activists in Dallas, Texas. So maybe you can tell us the situations of small and medium enterprises, especially those who are doing like art industry or fashion industry, something like that.
All right, so my activity, I mean, like for now, like for example, like let me bring example, I live in Mansfield, so this is a Mansfield Commission of the Art, like the event, like the art event is still going on. Usually like they're going to charge the artists, and then for now, currently, like they're not charging the artists like to display booth. And then there is something about the sponsorship as well in United States. Like, so like a big company, if they sponsor and then they're doing charity, something like that for the nonprofit organization, they can use it as a tax deductible for their, you know, for the tax income. So that's kind of like, we're trying to survive as a self-employed artist. We're trying to survive with this kind of event. And the other part, of course, like a lot of people like hitting hard, like a lot of people like lost their job, they're taking like more unemployment benefits, something like that. But it's still like keep going on, you know, we're still like a survive. It's not as bad as in the news, to be honest. Maybe for some state, but luckily not Texas. And then the other one is like the thing that I really need to mention is how like for a lot of charity as well, like a lot of humanity, like, you know, every church or non-profit organization, we're kind of like a help each other just to survive this pandemic. But for my side, to be honest, I don't know it's a good thing or not. It's like I kind of have something like a door opening for me during this pandemic, because like in the middle of pandemic, like I become like the artist of the month, for example, and then a lot of US tourists that they're supposed to go to Indonesia but been canceled. They kind of like texting me, email me, and then like, you know, hey, can you make like open studio for us so we can learn about your culture, something like that. So I welcoming them here. Of course, I charge them, you know. So it's kind of like another business side for me. So I hope when I become like a good representative for Indonesia, I can like tell to the, you know, to the people that come to my home studio the, what's that called, the correct information about Indonesia, and make them more interested, like when the travel ban is lifted, and then they can just travel and then, you know, enjoy Indonesia as I trying to promote to them.
Yeah, so we believe that you already become an Indonesian cultural ambassador in the US, in Texas, by what you are doing, a great thing, great initiative and great movements. Pak Musa, you are also welcome if you have something to ask or to elaborate through our speakers. Do you
Mr. Musa, we keep in touch, okay?
Yeah, please do. Okay.
Can interact.
And
yeah.
as well, we keep in touch, okay? I really want to hear more about batik and the trend,
Once
fashion.
you travel in Texas, and then there will be already a local focal point. So the key
Yeah.
for today's international talk show is a global collaboration through art and culture.
Yes, yes, that's correct. Everyone have their own role. Everyone is important. Everyone is unique, and let's just combine that uniqueness.
Okay. So, Pak Musa, are you optimistic in the future of batik?
Yes, I'm as a businessman, and then also as a fashion designer. Optimistic is just one word that it cannot leave from your side. So uh, when we are as a creative person, so we can make it workable in terms of in any kind of condition. And then when we're talking about batik, yes, we still have a lot to do, a lot of homework, but the market is still huge, it's still open. And one thing that we have to understand that human basically as probably in the term of psychological world is the same, right? The one that change is only the lifestyle, but about the psychological thing about the human itself is the same. And then what I want to mention also, when we're talking about batik, there are so many elements that can relate into to the batik itself, right? In terms of the human behavior, in terms of the psychology, in terms of the culture, in terms of the economic value, in terms of political, in terms of many things, in terms of nature. So we can learn about batik, and batik is a multi-layer complexity product. And we also one word that I use to describe Indonesia. Indonesia is intricate, right? Intricate, it means that very complicated and very detailed. And if we are being honest, yes, we are very intricate in our mind. We are very intricate in our art, our culture, and our perception. It's very intricate and very detailed. And that's why batik, the character of batik is also intricate with detail, with philosophy, with story, with the process, and which is the truth. When we're talking about the global market, yes, they want to hear the story, but they just only want to hear it. They don't want to learn about the story, right? That is, we also have to remember.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Musa, and then other distinguished speakers, Anna and Ms. Tata. I think we already have Pak Jauhari Oratmangun join us. Pak Jauhari, good afternoon, Pak Jauhari. His Excellency Pak Jauhari Oratmangun, the ambassadors of China's Republics of People Republics of China. Pak Jauhari.
Hello. Hello, Pa. How are you? Greetings from Beijing.
Hello, Pa.
Yes, yes. I had a meeting.
I'm glad to meeting you again. Do you still remember me on our dinners last year?
Yes, right. I still remember. You have a nice batik with the red color.
I'm a friend of Pak Mas Kimpling, Pak.
Yes, I know. So thank you very much for having me here. Thank you for the other speakers. I'm so sorry I was late because we have an urgent meeting at the embassy with the government official, because I'm going to have a meeting with them at the Yunnan province 2 days from now. So we need to clear things because two of the high level officials from Indonesia will be there. We are going to talk about economic relation between two countries. And of course, one of the issue is the export of batik. Let me inform you about the performance of the Indonesian export to China, because we just received the data last night. Our export to China now already exceeds 24 billion US dollar for the period of January till August, increased by almost 7%. So even in this crisis situation, in the pandemic situation, we were able to export to China. The amount is 24.2 billion US dollar. This is will as well contributed to the Indonesian economic growth. But if we look at the, if we are going to break down the component of the export, let me see the because I just reported it to Indonesia. Let me see the textile. It's increased by more than 60%. I have to see how the performance of batik is there, but there is a huge opportunities here in China. Let me give you some, at least one of the two reasons, because the increase of the middle class in China. Middle class in China, it's already 800 million people with the income per capita 9,000 to 32,000. So there is a shift of the interest. So most of the interest of the middle class is to the high-end products, to the quality of the product. So the purchasing power is there. During the event that we were organized last year, in fact, we have a lot of planned event this year, but unfortunately we cannot do it. Now we do it through virtual like this one. But last year we did it in Shanghai, Indonesia Week. We did it in Guangzhou. We did it in Chengdu, in Chongqing, and of course in Beijing. And the response is quite positive. We were able to bring some of the a designer from Indonesia, and of course they were here with the new type, put it that way, creative one of batiks. And then the response of the middle class, because we were organized in like Four Seasons Hotel, Shangri-La Hotel, and then in Shanghai, in the one of the interesting area there, the interests were expressed by them. And then I think the prospect of the batik in China, it's quite interesting to follow. So looking at the performance of the export of Indonesia, more and more China expressed their interest to buy things from Indonesia. So I would like to see that one of the component of the potential export of Indonesia, of course, is batik. We have to target that market. I think last time I made a example of sarang burung walet, a bird nest. You see at the back of my seat here a lot of Indonesian product, cassava, kerupuk. Last time it was batik here, but I put it down because last night I was doing the Zoom meeting with the small and medium enterprises in Indonesia. So batik has a prospect in Indonesia. Of course, we have an embassy here in Beijing. We have a consulate general in Shanghai, in Guangzhou, and in Hong Kong. We have an Indonesian Trade Promotion Center in Shanghai. Here we have a window of Indonesia in Beijing, and then of course in Guangzhou and in Hong Kong. Pandemic will be over. Pandemic will be over in 2021. So we need to collaborate how we work together as an Indonesian incorporated to penetrate the Chinese market here. Last time when we were having this kind of conversation, I was telling about the ability of doing storytelling about our product, because Chinese people, they love to read and to listen to the storytelling of one of the product. That was the strong of the batik, of course. And the other thing, because we did it in other products as well, for example, the bird nest from Indonesia, we were telling to them, or the storytelling is that this is the caviar from the East. This is the culinary of Kaisar, of the kings in the past, of the Tsar in the past, if we are going to enter the market of Russia, because I was ambassador in Russia before coming to China. So a lot of things has been done by the embassies. Now we have to be able to work together to penetrate. I don't use the word enter. We need to penetrate the market in China, in Russia, in Europe, of course. We can go through Netherlands because we have a lot of, at least 10% of Indonesia residents in China, in the Netherlands. I was there for 4 years as well. So we have the potential market, China, now the biggest one in the world, United States, Europe, and of course, other countries. Russia is coming because for the last 4 years, the ambassador there was able to organize the Indonesian week in one of the biggest park in China. And of course, one of the product that were promoted at the time was the batik from Indonesia as well. So I would like to stop there. If you would like to ask some question, and then I would be very happy to answer as well. So once again, thank you very much and greetings from Beijing.
We thank you very much, Pak Johari Oratmangun, for your wonderful wonderful speech, and also news, especially how Indonesian export has a very interesting opportunities in China's and global market. 60% increase, and then
6.5, not 60. 6.5 compared to the same period last year, January till August.
Yeah. And it's especially because the middle and upper class of the Chinese community is already increased, and that become a captive market or a new market in China. Pak Musa, what do you see about this very interesting updates from His Excellency Mr. Johari Oratmangun?
Pak Musa, apa kabar?
Pak
Baik,
Musa.
Pak. Baik, terima kasih. Yeah, I think it is very, as I mentioned it before, it is very exciting and very prospective to sell our Indonesian product to China, because China is one of the biggest market. But the one thing that we also have to understand is that the Chinese people, they have their own lifestyle and their own taste. And that is one of the reason why I keep on mentioning is about we have to really design and develop the design of the batik to the purpose of selling it for the eyes of Chinese market. And that is the challenge for us, how to use the traditional way or how to make our batik cloth into much more appealing to the eyes of the Chinese society that will be our good or great target markets.
So the key is how to tailor batik fashions to the eyes of Chinese market, something like that.
Yes.
To be more friendly to Chinese market, to be more appealing to Chinese market. We need to do tailoring to our batik fashions.
Yeah, we have to in a way we have to intertwine the character of the lifestyle and the use of artistic sense of the Chinese people into the batik, right? So wherever batik goes to China, or batik goes to India, or batik goes to Europa or America, I think one thing that we have to adapt adapt the artistic sense and lifestyle of our targeted market, which every region have a different approach of sense of style and color. Let's say if I take the example that when we marketed, for example, tenun or batik, when we marketed through the American, for example, when we go through New York, of course, the design, the color, it will be different when we market it to California, although it's still in the same continent, right? It is America. But what we have to bring to New York, it's totally different than what we are going to offering to the California market. It's the same when we are bringing batik or bringing everywhere. I think we have to really understand the lifestyle and then the sense of artistic, because we're not only looking for appreciation as the art or culture product, but we are looking at the commerciality of the batik product.
Oh, thank you. Miss Tata, you...
Sorry, Mr. Aprianto, for interrupting.
Yes.
Basically, our time is very limited right now. Would you
Okay.
mind to go to the interactive section for the participants?
Yes. Okay, thank you for reminding me, Miss Claudia. So, do I have some question here? Then I will read. Yeah.
Can I ask the question to Mr. Johari?
Oh yeah. Please, Anna.
Yeah. First of all, it's really impressed me to hear that Chinese people, even they already have a long history of batik themselves from 6th century in the areas of Guizhou and Sichuan in Yunnan and Zhuan in Miao. And they are interested in Indonesian batik. So maybe it could be really interesting for our local Japanese designers and batik makers to understand what are the preferences in the colors maybe for Chinese people. And according to the design, I can say that I spent almost a year of my life in China and I understand a little bit their lifestyle and things. And if there could be any possibilities for collaborations, maybe in Hong Kong for the 2021 or something, if Mr. Johari can inform us for that, it could be really great. Thank you so much.
You ask the questions to Mr.
Johari or
Yeah. Please, Mr. Musa, Mr. Johari.
Thank you, Anna. How are you, Anna? I used to serve in Moscow for 4 years. Pamusa, thank you. I fully share your views, but if you want to enter a Chinese market, you have to adjust to the taste of the, in particular, the high-end society here. Because please do come with the artistic product, best product from Indonesia, because the purchasing power of Chinese, in particular the middle class, is increased. That's the best on our experience. In Russia as well, when we were there, we did it in some of the hotels in Moscow. So if we want to come and enter the market of Russia, don't compete with them at the lower level. Compete with them at the high-end product from Indonesia, because they're willing to do that. They're willing to buy that. And of course, I agree with Pamus as well. We need to adjust to the local taste, to the Chinese taste. For example, they love, of course, I already mentioned storytelling as well as bright color. The middle class in China, they love things that projected the bright future. So using the bright color, that's number one. Storytelling, number two. And of course, in fact, I'm planning to do something here as well. I'm using the biggest e-platform commerce here like JD.com, Alibaba, etc. Last time we were able to put in their 11/11 event, and then this time we are going to do so. I'm planning to do something with JD.com towards the end of October, and then towards the end of November. I'm thinking of putting Batik there as well as one of the potential product from Indonesia, but it has to be high end. For example, this one. This is I keep mentioning that bird nest. They put it in the nice packaging like this, and this is the product. 6 only. How much in the market? 4 million rupiah. So 2,000 RMB. It's only a cake, but the packaging is quite good. So when we make and then the bright color. So if you want to do something about batik, take that into consideration. Consult with Pamusa, consult with other designer, because they are the one who is very creative and creating things that will meet the need of the high-end society in China. Please don't compete in the lower level. If we want to compete, it has to be artistic one. It has to be meet the demand of the middle class in China. And of course, please, Anna, please get in touch with me. After that, if you have a WeChat, you can WeChat with me, or you can get my number from Pak Tim, and then we can communicate because Pak Musa as well and others, because we are thinking of doing something towards the end of this year at the embassy. And of course, next year, hopefully things will be going in the right direction, no more COVID. So a lot of things that we are planning to do next year. Thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you, Pak Jawari, for the comprehensive answer, and also actually tips how we can win the Chinese market. First is choose the bright color, and then we need to also have a storytelling behind the products, and we need to use digital platform, digital marketing platforms. That,
sorry, this is one of the good thing as well. Temulawak. Now we are temulawak from Indonesia. You know, make it in the nice color,
very nice,
and then so because right in front of me, this is krupuk, not krupuk. Sorry, cassava chips.
Cassava snack.
Okay, that's it.
I think many of us already got the inspiration from the presentations of His Excellency Mr. Jawahari. The Chinese market, not only enter the Chinese market, but to penetrate the Chinese market. Ms. Claudia, as you suggest that we need to have also interactions from questions from our participants.
Yes, but before that, I'm sorry, Mr. Aprianto, I'm interrupting again. I think Mr. Jawahari should leave us now because he has something to do.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are really thank you so much, Mr. Jawahari, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's okay.
Thank
I have
you
another
so
10 minutes. I will follow the discussion.
Thank you,
Pak
Jawahari.
Okay, Mr. Aprianto, I give it the time to you back for the interactive section. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Claudia. So the questions from Mr. Ananta Hari Nur Sasetyo. He wrote that for Mr. Musa and Anna Sanikova, I think also it can be open to Ms. Tata as well. Acculturations that stops, sorry, there's a, sounds noisy. Acculturation that stops when the country experiences restrictions. How about afterwards to share ideas and design in the pandemic era on word batiks? So it's a question from Mr. Ananta. Is there a cultural acculturation that stops when the country experiences restrictions? How about afterwards? So it's about acculturations between two cultures. What do you think, Mr. Musa?
Yes. The answer to that question is depend on each designer, right? If Your Excellency, Mr. Jauhari, challenging me as an Indonesian designer to create a product, a batik product that probably will market it in the future of the market in China, it means the collaboration between the motive of the China and then Indonesia, I think it can be done. So in terms of what's going on right now, we have to remember that as a designer, in terms of a designer product, designer fashion, or designer batik, we create product for the future, not for the present. So because of the product itself need time to be produced. I agree with Your Excellency, Mr. Johari, that we should compete in the quality and in the creativeness, right? That is the only thing that can have that can bring the good value to Indonesian product. So with this kind of condition, we have challenges to use the information to the market that we are going to target it. In terms of today's speak, that this is a challenge for me to create a design that will be marketable to the Chinese people. So I think that's probably, it doesn't stop. It opens so many doors, and then it's time actually for us to concentrate in developing the design. So I think work from home. I think it's good. Yes, it is a good idea for me as a designer, because then I can concentrate to be creative. Because creative people, when they need time, quiet time, to create beautiful product. So I think working from home is just very nicely time for me to concentrate.
That means that the answer to whether or not we must stop the acculturation when there is a restriction from a certain countries. So we don't need to stop our effort to have acculturations, because we create something for our future. No need to worry about some restrictions, something like that.
Yes, and then we also have to realize, and then to be honest, that when we look at the batik design that is already been done in Indonesia, it is a product of acculturation, right? There is a batik that is inspired by the Chinese culture, which is called it a pranakan, like the one that Tata wear, the kebaya, you know. There is the batik influenced by the Japanese with Hokokai batik, or with the Netherlands batik. So in a way, the term of collaboration of different culture is just not a new thing in batik, but we just have to do it differently than what have been done years ago when Chinese influenced batik Indonesia.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Musa, for a very interesting remarks related to acculturations. So I think we already at the end of our international talk show program today. So in order to close our sessions, I need to give opportunity from, let me start from Tata from Dallas, Texas. Would you please to give your short closing statement to our international talk show today? And in particularly, you can emphasize a bit to the commitment for collaboration from us.
All right, just keep my words, Mr. Musa, Anna, and then everyone. You know, I'm really open, like to be like collaborate with all of you. Just contact me every time. If I can help, I'm willing to help. But the thing is, like, for me itself, even though like how creative you are, please still preserve the roots and keep that as a foundation. And then after that, you can just collaborate. You can just keep our, true identity first as a, as a basic. And then after that, you can freely go beyond your imagination. I'm an artist. Of course, I never against like all the creativities. Just please to the young people. I mean, like to the, it's a reminder for myself as well, just to look and then preserve our history, our cultural heritage. And then after that, we can just use that as a foundation to bounce beyond the sky. I mean, like, there is no limit to creativity.
Okay, thank you very much, Tata, for your closing statements. And then, please, Anastasia Sarnikova, can you give us a closing statement?
That it's our best time as an artist really to create, to find a peace of mind within, and let's stay at home, let's be creative, let's be tough, and let's do batik. And success for each and every participant of this event. I'm really glad to be a part of this collaboration and hope to see you all again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Anna, for your closing statement. And now it's time for our fashion guru, Mr. Musa. Would you please to give us your inspiring closing statement?
Yeah, I think I just want to say one statement that creativity is a new currency. That's it. Creativity is a new currency.
Wow, thank you very much, Mr. Musa. So, all distinguished participants, we are so grateful to have you join us in our international talk show today. So, we realize that in this time of COVID-19 pandemic, instead of a global challenge that we have, we see that COVID-19 pandemic is also a unifying threat. In this time of COVID-19 pandemic, no need to worry, but we need to stay happy, to stay alert, and to stay healthy and optimistic. The important thing is we need to preserve our cultural as part of our identity, including how we can use batik as part of cultural to be foundations of our intangible heritage of humanity for the futures. Arthur C. Clarke also said that the only way of finding the limit of the possible is through going beyond them into the impossible. That's what I think we mean by creativity. A very nice closing statement from Mr. Musa. So creativity is the only currency that worth of having it today. I think that is all for me. If there is some mistake that I have made during this international talk show, I beg your pardon, and I give this time back to Miss Claudia. Miss Claudia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aprianto, for guiding our talk show today. Thank you very much, Mr. Aprianto.
Yes, you're welcome.
I apologize if I interrupted sometimes during the talk show. Big thank you and appreciation to our amazing speakers today, Mr. Musa Widiatmojo. Thank you very much for your time. It's a big pleasure for us to have you here and learn from you. Miss Anastasia Salnikova.
I'm sorry, shall we have a picture sessions?
Yes, we will have that session. Don't worry. And yeah, thank you so much, Miss Anastasia Salnikova. We are grateful to have you here today. Ms. Sang Ratu Tama Adil, thank you so much for your time and your efforts. Now it's sleeping time there. We are so happy to learn from you. And as I know, Miss, you already hold US citizen, right? Even you were born in Indonesia.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. It's really nice
But
to
I
meet
still
you.
have Indonesian husband, so he can sponsor me like to come.
That's great. And so we are really appreciate all of the speakers, the moderator. Thank you so much for the knowledge that are very useful for us from the various background and countries. Well, we are really sorry for the absence of Mr. Bim Singh. Even, Mr. Bim couldn't be with us today. Like we are still sending our deep condolences for his uncle. May his uncle rest in peace. I'm also grateful for the participants who have faithfully participated in this talk show and stayed until the end of the event. On behalf of the committee, I would like to apologize if there were any words, action, or deficiencies that occurred during this event. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I informed that participants that the presence link has been sent in the chat box. You can check it right now. And participants, please fill in attendance carefully and pay attention to every instruction well. And the attendance form is automatically linked with a printed e-certificate. So it is necessary to double check the writing of the name. Well, now we will take photos together. So I ask for the willingness of all of you to activate the video so that we can take pictures together. I will guide the photo session. So we will take picture for about maybe 5 times. So please start turning on your video right now. Be prepared with a big smile. Okay? Okay. I see most of you are ready. I will give you about 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, let's start right now. I will counting. 1, 2, 3, cheese. More. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Again. 1, 2, 3. The last one. 1, 2, 3. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Before we leaving this meeting room, let me do a closing in prayer. I believe in Christian faith. Please adjust. Let's pray. Thank you, Jesus, for your wonderful time for us today from the various countries. We are coming from different backgrounds, different countries, but you unite us today. And we have learned from our amazing speakers today and also led by the amazing moderator. Thank you so much also for your best for us until right now. So we will continue our activities and please bless us. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Thank you very much for your participation. See you again at the next event of graduate program of Psychology Satyawacana Christian University. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very early morning for Tata. Have a nice day.
Yeah, Mbak Bobo ini, Mbak Bobo.
Selamat bobo.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, thank you.
Pak Musa.
Thank you very much, Miss Tata. And also
Iya,
Miss
sama-sama.
Sama-sama. See you.
Sama-sama kontak-kontak ya Pak Musa ya. Ana
Ya,
juga.
kamu di Texas atau di Dallas sih?
Di Dallas tuh di Texas.
Oh, Dallas di Texas ya. Oke.
Iya, jadi kita deket sama Houston sama Austin.
Oh iya,
konsulatnya di
kamu
Houston.
di Dallasnya ya, bukan di Houstonnya.
Bukan. Aku di Dallasnya.
Ya, ya.
di
Nanti aku
Houston
kontak-kontak
ya.
deh. Aku punya niece yang ada di sana kok. Gitu.
Oh ya,
Ya.
awesome. Main-main deh kalau gitu.
Oke.
Oke,
Ya, ya,
yuk,
ya.
talk to you later ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Talk to
Thank
you
you so
later.
much, Musa.
Yo, sama-sama Bu Susan. Ya,
Thank you,
Kak
Pak
Apri.
Ini
Musa. Thank
gimana
you.
Ya,
liftnya?
sampai
Oke.
ketemu. Keep on contact.
Thank you.
Yes, till we meet again.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Bu.
This is so much to me. It was really a pleasure for me to discuss and listen our speakers, especially Mr. Musa. Impressed me a lot. I hope someday also maybe personally. Faster to learn from.
Yeah.
His wise opinion for the situation.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay.
Terima kasih Bu Susana, pamit duluan.
Bu, terima kasih banyak ya ditemani sampai akhir.
Semua teman-teman. Tuhan berkati.
Tuhan berkati ya, Tuhan berkati Bu. Ini masih follow up-nya ini yang panjang. Terima kasih Bu. Terima kasih banyak.
Terima kasih Bu Susan.
Ya Claudia, terima kasih banyak ya. Kamu banyak membantu Seri. Tempat saya harus ya,
Dengan senang hati. Saya izin live ya Bu.
Oke, thank you. Thank you ya.
Thank you Bu.
Thank you for all.
Terima kasih Bu Susana. Keren banget.
Masih di sini. Terima kasih banyak.
Great.
Punya Bu Livi tadi
sukses.
2 kali.
Ya, Om Wisnu, terima kasih sudah bergabung.
Iya, terima kasih Pak.
Saya Liv ya.
Oke, terima kasih banyak sekali lagi ya.
Ya.
Untuk lagunya yang dipersembahkan tadi.
Luar biasa, keren acaranya.
Ya, oke. Tinggal follow up, Bu.
Bye.
Tinggal follow up ya. Terima kasih. Salam untuk Jogja.